I've worked with designers who organize their files in a way that is like mind numbing to me. Like I am auto layout for everything all the time, components for everything all the time, name all my layers. Like I that helps me have a tidy workshop to then revisit once I inevitably get it wrong and need to like do an iteration, right? So I think of every design as like a sense of maybe like a universe of tools and rules that I'm setting up that should be internally consistent, so that when I need to revisit them, I can understand that language that I'm setting up. So for me, it's important to like be as tidy as possible. That doesn't mean that the canvas itself is tidy. There's going to be a lot of iterations, but the components should be reusable, so that I can then kind of take those out of that context and put them in a different context. So that may be another thing that I do that helps me move fast, whereas like a little bit of investment at the beginning to make them reusable, so that, you know, revision 2, 5, 10, 15 from there, I don't have to redo it.
I have a big smile on my face because I don't think you hear that very often, especially from designers who are working in that early stage. It's very much so like, no, you can't name your layers, no components, groups over frames, you know? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like you described the white boxes in your process. I will draw the white box and I will turn that into a component before I have anything in it, just so that I don't have to change it twice. I never want to have to change anything twice. So it's interesting to hear you talk about relying on components, even though you are inheriting these really early stage bodies of work.
Yeah, I think maybe people react to that as like being somewhat elitist, or, you know, they hear a statement like that and they look at their own files and are like, oh, my file looks like shit, I must be a bad designer. So then they feel the need of saying, you know, you don't need to do that. You can be a designer, have a shitty file, and still you'll have a job, which, you know, more power to them. But I think that I take joy in the organization of the file. Like that to me is part of the fun of being a designer, is tidying it up. Like I love tidying my desk. I love tidying my house. It's what I get joy out of. And if there's any logic behind it, like actual, like, you know, now with variables, and that is a big part of origami, where you set up these like internally consistent systems that itself are beautiful, you know, just like how you set up this prototype, that can give you a sense of pride, that I find like it's like a worthy carrot to chase.